Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Azuka here. I'm bringing you another video for the Conqueror's Blade, published by Parse Interactive and My Games. So this will be the update log for April 3rd, and I'll be honest, I actually did record this, but at around about 40 minutes it decided to kill itself. My recording software bugged out. So I slept on it, and I'm recording it in the morning. But nevertheless, let's get into this. Oh, it is developed by Booming Tech. But, and also, um, if this not already mentioned, most of the server stuff is related to Frontier things. And yeah, I wish that they would merge into a big server. There's not very many players left, and TW itself is just like more people means more fights, but people don't like fighting apparently. Everyone wants a piece of the pie without any effort, put it simply. So that's why there's a lot of diplomacy going around. So people get the biggest piece of the pie without doing very much. So of course they'll carry out their regular. Oh yeah. So it's kind of like an odd day. So they're going to be doing the maintenance one day early. So it'll be on the Wednesday instead of the Thursday. That's normal. So of course it'll be the normal 3 hour maintenance from 12:30 to 3:30. I think they've changed it slightly, but it'll be UCC plus 8. Uh, you'll get 8,000 bronze coin, 300 honor, and 15 unit medals. So obviously, because it's in April, we are in our third anniversary. I believe it's our third anniversary. Came out in 2001, maybe 2020. Not entirely sure. My memory is holding up very well for like how many years this game is going. But it is uh, kind of upsetting that we don't get another purple horse. Uh, last time we had the anniversary, we got I think we had a login event that gave us a purple horse, the Brunel or the dark brown horse. Anyway, with the Heavenly Sword in hand, as if entering an uninhabited land on the battlefield, on this anniversary, a special gift the um, is presented to the all generals. Is presented to all generals, hoping that the general will be invincible in future expeditions. During the event, log into the game and claim a reward, treaty times 30, epic hero schematic selection crate, and other generous rewards. Goes from April 3rd to April 18th. So now we have the time limited event shimmering silver jewelry and vibrant butterfly activity is on. The ancient melody sung by our ancestors still linger with the arrival of spring, gracefully intertwining with beauty and dreams. Gather flower ribbons and craft enchanting tales that transcend the battlefield together. So obviously this is going to be an attire chest. And I mean, it's a very nice looking attire. Kind of reminds me of the Scorpio season. I love the Scorpio season's like general vibe and look. The units as well, they look pretty great. And this one in particular, just from the, I would call it art, it looks very amazing. Not sure what the can't remember what the male one looks like. I have looked through this before since I've already recorded this before. But the one thing I did notice is that like when you look at the in-game one, the tattoos don't stand out as much, either due to the lighting or the color, whatnot. It doesn't stand out as much as on the art. But I think the effects could have been a little bit lighter. They made the effects very harsh. Should have went for more an opaque one instead of a more vibrant color. So generals. Oh wait, well I mean, it'll be two folds event. So this one, so they call it both the shimmering silver jewels and vibrant butterfly activities, but This one is in relation to a server event, which has the server contribution, so the total server contribution, your own personal contributions, um, own server contributions, and then yeah. So let me just read this real quickly because I kind of like skipped ahead here. Generals can obtain flower ribbons through the Siege and the Hulong Gate gameplay. Weekly drops limit is 25. The drop reset limit is reset every Thursday. So that's gonna be very interesting because it is early. So maybe on this Wednesday you can get 25 before the reset on the Thursday. And if I'm reading this correctly, this goes from the 3rd to the 18th. That would only give you officially 2 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So it'll be like 2.5 weeks, but you might actually squeeze in a fourth. Might actually squeeze in a fourth. Um, no, actually 2 weeks. Wow, it's actually very short. So you might actually be able to squeeze into a third. So the total drops could be 75, but maybe 50, maybe 50. So good luck with that, and maybe it does reset tomorrow. Donating flower ribbons to increase the overall server progression and receive corresponding personal contribution points and a random gift pack based on the type of items. So you got two progression-based things, and then you get items based on your donations. So how it works is that you get these flower ribbon things, you donate them, you get a straight up kind of like a loot box. So it's just a random gift, maybe a couple of unit medals, maybe a couple of honor medals, something like that. And then you got your own personal contribution, so it'll be like your total, and you get set rewards at particular contribution points. And then you have the total combined server total that everyone gets once certain thresholds are met. So there are three. There are three sets of rewards to just kind of like keep track of. And this next part is just mentioning that um, when the server progression bar is filled, you can still obtain your personal rewards from your personal donation. So again, like I don't know why they needed to mention that last part, but yeah. Any undonated item will automatically be converted to bronze coins after the event ends. That's actually will be after the activity UI has been put down. So it's not after the event ends on April 18th. It'll be on April 15th when the maintenance on April 15th. Um, when the things will be converted. So the rewards they listed here are Epic Hero Schematics Selection Box, Treaties, Pure Spirits, Epic Siege Engines, Fire Crows. I believe that's supposed to be Flying Crows. Either like again, Flying Crows, most hated artillery ever put into this game. Even worse than the Quinn Ruins Super Scorpio. I call it the Super Scorpio. I'm not even sure what to call it, but like this thing I hate it so much. It's way worse than the almost impossible to get bombard, but this absolute monster of an artillery is an absolute game changer. It fries entire armies so easily. It explodes you first. You get hit with explosion first, and then you get hit like the explosion is not even like small. It's like 2,000 damage, and it's 3 times 2,000 damage, and then you get hit by stupid ass um, fire damage, which ticks which ticks like crazy. You could kill entire swaths of enemies. I was I think I used this one time when I was on Quinn Ruins because I was just like super fed up and I was just pointing it towards the B point on Quinn Ruins and it was just the supply point next to the B point on Quinn Ruins, so I'm attacking. And I just killed like 80 to 100 units just and I couldn't do anything about it. Like a flash, just a couple of shots. Ugh. So, for the third one, we have the shimmering silver jewelry, the vibrant butterflies. Again, like the naming conventions is super silly. Silver, silver blossoms, shimmer, unveiling spring's gleam. The first hero attire with special effect, spring jade, is now available. So this will be the first hero attire that has a special effect on it. Um, no, you can't see this in this image. So again, we saw the female one more detailed up above, but this one probably has the more closer color to the in-game one. Interesting, interesting. I didn't notice this before, but this is the attire for the units, and it does look like they use the rattan round shields for this. I kind of get it, kind of don't like the helmet horn thing. If they were going for something like it kind of looks weird. It kind of looks weird because just like if they got rid of the horns, it would look completely fine. But because the horns are there, it just looks a bit weird. The male one is okay, I guess. It's not as, I would say, as colorful as the female one. It got more red floating about. Definitely decides to show more, not more skin, but like it's got a different style. Definitely, the feel of the two is completely different. Very more masculine and warrior-like when you're looking at the male one. The female one doesn't feel like that. Though I have to say, it kind of looks kind of reminds me of like South American kind of like Mayan Aztec vibe here. While this headdress just goes full on North American um like North American horse tribe kind of thing. Regardless, I do think it's just really good looking attire. Hopefully in game it will look good, just as good. So obviously we got like a video here. Hopefully it works. Would really be annoying if I had to wait for it to load again. The Spring Jade special effect. Each part of the attire features varying degrees of flowing light effects. Do not require to equip the entire set to activate the light effect. The effects of each individual part of the attire remains distinct and independent. Bracers. There is a moving effect when hero is running. Armor and helmet. There will be entrance effects when entering a scene, such as entering the city or spawning on the battlefield. Again, I wish they would give us a demonstration for this, but they didn't. Anyway, yeah, it's too vibrant. It's too vibrant. I know it's in a black room, but imagine just seeing this flash every time you respawn. They definitely should have went with something more opaque, something way more pale. But just for the attire itself and looking at the lighting here, I definitely do love the intricacy of the metal parts. There is a little bit of low resolution on the shirt for somehow, even though like the necklace things and the head thing. I mean, like all of the metal parts have like almost like super high detail to the bit mapping to them, but like some things, this one decides to be low resolution, and of course the tattoo ends up being low resolution as well. So again, I love the attire as a whole. It kind of comes together as a nice cosmetic piece, and it does totally remind me of the Scorpio attires, and I love the Scorpio's attires. The male ones, not so much. The female ones, again, it's just really easy to make them look really good. The male ones are really difficult to get right because my idea of like male attire is a very very strict. I'm not sure what a good looking male attire is. Maybe someone with a better eye for fashion could tell me. But yeah, because it is, as I said, it is a tire chest. So if- I believe it's going to be a legendary armor set, which is going to be annoying. 1.5% chance of the set as a whole or components. Good luck getting the set as a whole. The fact that there's three pieces is really annoying because you might get duplicates of like your pieces, so you don't even know how many times you have to get this. It's not as bad as like it's not as bad as like the legendary weapons, which are zero point 0.5, so they tripled the rate at which you get this, but the rates are still astronomically low. Astronomically low. So you can the specific probabilities can be checked by visiting the in-game G attire treasure section. Yeah, so when you're in the thing, and you press the G mode that opens the attire treasures to spend your golden orders, your silver orders. You select the chest, it'll give you a probability on the bottom right. You can select that, and I'll show you the probability. So again, I don't like these things. I don't like loot boxes, especially for it's just like if I wanted to get something, I just want to buy it directly. I never wanted to have to jump through hoops to in order to get something, unless that's the only way to get it. Well, let me explain. I much prefer just being able to purchase it, but working towards a tire that only costs time is okay. It just means that the time that I do spend is working towards that attire, but sometimes there's just like a too much time and like not it takes too much time, I don't have enough time, that kind of thing. So it's just like it's how I value my time. On to the next thing. We have the new time limited event. We have the Hulang Gate. So this one, when I read it the first time, I thought it was going to be like a PvE event, but it's actually a PvP event, and it's just like, wow, this is really complicated. So they kind of smashed together a siege map and the kind of like Dragon Knight and Santa thing where the two guys fight each other. So it's a really interesting concept, and I hope that it is fun to play. I might try it out myself, whether or not I find time to do so. But let's read through the rest of their description to hopefully get some more insight on what it is. So it goes from so it starts from April 3rd to April 18th. Opening times are limited every day, so it'll probably be the like 12 to 2, 6 to 8 time frame. just before whatever is normally scheduled for the 8 to 10 slot. Um, open. Sorry. So to get there, press J, events. So the event quests, very simple. I think this might be daily. I hope this is daily. It just seems too simple just to be kind of like a one-off thing. Um, in events, Hulan Gate participate. Ooh. In a total of one match, you get the rewards for uncommon scrolls of mastery times 10. They say uncommon scrolls of mastery times 10, but it's just like they're very common. Very, 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 very common. But I guess they don't bother using gray. They just went straight to green and it's just uncommon and it just be like blue being rare. But like we don't have scrolls of mastery which are common and then we just have uncommon mastery scrolls. So they're the most used mastery scrolls that we have, which is just really funny in my head. Um achieve a total of one victory. You get reforged stone times 20. I believe they meant artificial stones. Uh Achieve a grade of A or above, and you get one treatises. I call it treaty, but it's treatises. So the mode information, we have victory rules. The stage is divided into two phases. The first phase occurs before the capture of the wall flag point, and the second phase occurs after its capture. Victory conditions for the attacking side: capture the wall flag and eliminate the defending side's protected target, the Li Xingming. Victory condition for the defending side: eliminate the attacking side protected targets that appear in the second phase, namely the Wang Shikong and uh, Dong Shangdi. Or at the end of the countdown, the side with the higher remaining health for their protected target wins. Okay, now this is really funny because reading this, I just realized that if the attacking side can't even get the wall point, can't even get the wall flag point, the defenders could just end it there. They don't even need to go into the second phase, which is probably the most interesting part. But that is besides the point. Um, Units. So it's got special rules for units, and I'm not sure what it's going to be like. Maybe it's going to be, um, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they set this up. So whether or not you just get access to all of the units. So using the escalation, units can deploy their own units in the campaign by consuming leadership. Upon entering the game, the player's maximum leadership is 400 and it will continue to grow as long as it has not reached the limit. That's really weird how they put that. It's continue to grow as long as it has not reached the limit. Hmm. When a unit dies, 30% of the... Oh, okay. So that makes sense. So that makes sense. What they mean here is that the limit is 400 and it will continue to grow as long as it does not reach the limit. So when a unit dies, 30% of the leadership is returned, and when a unit retreats, 50% of the leadership returns. And at the beginning of the second phase, all units' leaderships are restored to 400. So this stops the case where people save their units from the first phase and then it gets restored to 400, and then they get a 30% return from when their unit dies, or when they retreat, it's 50% return. So it stops people from having like a tier 5 after the first phase, and then just having a buttload of leadership for the second phase. But I mean, that'll still happen. It'll still happen. It just means that like you didn't fight hard enough in the first phase. Oh man, my legs is just all jelly. Protect your target. The attacking and defending side each have their own protection target. Attacking side protection target is the Li Xingming. Again, this is actually all completely wrong. The Li Xingming is the defending side's protection target in the second phase. The defending side protection target, it's actually supposed to say the attacking side protection target is the Wang Shikong and the Dou Jiangdi. Appears after some time, Li Xingming emerges. So these guys will appear after, so like Li Ming will just appear when the second phase of the battle enters, and then these two guys will show up for the attacking side at some point. So this will be very interesting to see where they are because I'm pretty sure the attacking side needs to be super aggressive in order to defend these guys. Otherwise, the defending side will just completely mob these defenders. Though it does also say that both sides' protection targets have their own personal guard. So I don't think a solo person is going to be able to take out these big guys. And if it's like anything like how big they are in the previous game modes, they just stun lock you into oblivion. But they'll probably be the same size. They'll probably be like expedition heroes or something to be a bit more realistic. Being that big would be like hilarious. Um, as the campaign reaches the end, Wang Shikong and Do Zhangdi will lead their personal guards to attack the location of Li Xingming. So that will be kind of like the attacker's final attack scenario, where everyone just rushes together. It is a losing battle for the defenders, so the defender's going to have to be very aggressive in the second phase if it does reach that. And I really do think in order for the defenders to really do well, end it on the wall. You have so much advantage on the wall that there's no point in not fighting for the wall. If you don't fight for the wall in this game mode, I think it's going to be hell for the defenders. Considering that it's like a 2v1 scenario, more people for the attackers. Siege engines and artillery. In this campaign, if the siege engines and artillery, cannons, ballista, etc., is destroyed, it can be recreated by players after a period of time. Now, the fact that siege engines have to be recreated doesn't make sense to me. Normally, they get automatically created, and if this also implies trebs and stuff, that's going to be interesting. Uh, Certain placement for artillery could also be an interesting factor. This also means that like cannons on the wall can be rebuilt periodically and still put pressure on the siege weapons. And if they have infinite ammo, a massive plus. So there'll always be some kind of like this back and forth for attackers and defenders defending the wall, gaining back the wall, and the attackers being pushed off the wall, kind of thing. But once the siege towers are up there, like it kind of the wall kind of just pushed back anyway. The defenders don't normally chokehold the siege towers, even though it's actually a really, really, really good strategy. Going up the siege tower that's straight up has a bunch of defenders all around it is actually not very possible. People like defenders have a lot of advantages that they can get, but people are just not brave enough to because they're afraid of just getting trebbed. That's why I hate the treb a lot. The treb in a siege battle just gives that forces the defenders into only fighting in very particular spots to avoid getting trebbed is bad. They should lower the power of trebs, kind of have it be like a one shot break up formation kind of thing. But like what do I know? What do I know? What do I know? Siege battles are very hard to balance because without the trebs, it's too hard for the attackers in some cases. And even now, sometimes the defenders have very, 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 very hard cover. So like once you're inside the wall on the ground, it's like impossible to treb anything. So you have to actually fight. And if the defenders just completely squash you into oblivion, you can't do anything. So yeah, it's also the reason why I think the attackers should always have more people, more resources, just to make sure that defenders have to be on the back end. And I mean, like having those trebs and stuff is the only way to have them be on the back end without them being completely defenseless. Supply point contention. In this campaign, capturing supply points will trigger an additional mechanic that can only be activated during the first phase and can be triggered up to 2 times for the entire team. When capturing an enemy supply point, the whole team gains 25 leadership and friendly units will be summoned at the supply point. Hmm. Interesting. Can be triggered up to 2 times. That means there's 2 supply points that can be captured for the attacking team. And not only do they get leadership points for the whole team, they also get friendly units that defend the supply point or move on to or attack. Is it a periodic attack? Who knows? That'll be interesting to see. I do think that like supply points could play more interesting roles and have them spawn out friendly units kind of makes sense. At the same time it doesn't. It's just a game mechanic. I do think the additional leadership puts these capturing these supply points as a side objective, gives a massive reward to the whole team. So it is still extraordinarily beneficial. I'm wondering whether or not this mechanic is a back and forth kind of thing. Can the defending team then capture back the supply point and gain 45 leadership, kind of like a rebound or like a fight back scenario? That would that would make it fair, but again, like the defending team would be on the back foot, so they'd have to kind of do this weird let them take it and then we'll take it back kind of scenario. So it'd be like a trap. Ah, I do think that a lot of these mechanics will be interesting to see how they play out in its entirety. Though, I mean, I do believe with the 400 leadership limit, people are going to end up with probably going out with a tier 5 and then go out with like a tier 1. Like they'll probably use 300 for a tier 5 and then with only 100 left, you would go out with something like, man, maybe an ICAP Scout if you go for a cheap 2851. Actually no. You could go out with tier 5. You get 30% back when it dies. So 30% of whatnot could be 80, 85 or something ish. Oh, no, that makes it really annoying. No, it would be like 90. It would be like about 90. So you get like tier 3? Tier 3 or a really, really, really cheap tier 4. Um, I forget what tier 4s are like 180 or something. I'm not sure if there is. Anyway, on to the next event. So we have Feast of Battle special event. Feast of Battle event can be accessed in the bottom left corner of the C store menu. Bronze gift is available free, while the silver gift and the golden gift can be purchased using sovereign. Popularity is accumulated separately based on the total number of bronze gifts, silver gifts, and golden gifts collected. Okay. The more times these gifts are acquired, the higher the popularity rating, obviously. Or the more popularity rating gained. No idea. Attain a specific popularity rating to receive additional gifts. So the event pack overview, silver gift. Are these? It says the popularity rating, but it's just like, is this popularity rating for each gift type, or is it for all the gifts as a total? I think it's for each gift type because it just seems weird if it's not. Um, because like since everyone will claim the bronze gift one, everyone would like but it'd be like instantly gained, and so you'll have to purchase the silver gift several times to get popularity rating up, and it shouldn't affect the golden gift one. And the golden gift one will have its own thing where like you purchase that one several times, and it will have its own popularity thing go up. If put it simply. Anyway, the silver gift has a unit metal times 3. I mean times 300. Discount price to 780. I'm not sure how much they are individually, but sure. You need like 1,000 in order to fully level a tier 5 unit from 1 to 300. 300. I meant 1 to 30. Discount price from oh sorry, 780 sovereign. You can purchase twice. Additional gifts after reaching popularity of 20,000, you get 10% discount. Store discount voucher times 3. Again, I don't like these things. This makes you want to spend more, and they're also time limited, so they eventually expire. Popularity reaches 3,000 vault keys times 10 bound. This is completely worthless if you have a butler if you have the premium account. You just gain tons of vault keys just every week of just playing because you don't always get 15 volts every week. You get near 15 volts every week. I get like 12 or 13 when I use the regular. And then you got the only one that I think is worth it is general payoff voucher. But again, this is worthless if you just have all of the units anyway. So yeah. You got the golden gift one, which is the golden treasure order times 20. This one, again, obviously they would have something like this. Special price of 2,500. I think each golden order is like 250 sovereigns. Purchase limited to 3 times. Extra gifts is 500 heat points is 20% off the store discount coupon times 3 with a heat value of 10,000. Again, I think heat value means popularity. You get a epic hero schematic box selectable. And at 20,000, you get Doctrine Water times 25, which is only enough for 5 epic doctrines. Again, this is only supposed to be a nice thing, extra thing. You're still really just purchasing the main item. Not really sure if it's going to be worth it or not. Again, it's up to each individual person to see what they want to buy. So the event goes from the 3rd of April to April 18th. So we also have the total spending rewards time limited Pavilion of Glory. So we have the total spending return briefing. You spend 500 sovereigns. So you spend a total of 500 sovereigns, you get 1 golden order, 50 of the special item. 1,000 sovereigns, you get 1 golden treasure order, you get 50 of the special item. 2,000, 100 of the special item, so on and so forth. So basically, this is just getting a bang for your buck for while this total spending event is here. Again, it's just another way of getting people to spend a lot of money, and people will spend a lot of money in trying to get the special attire, and it is kind of a thing. I need to quickly go to the toilet because I am busting to go, so hopefully this interruption is not too bad. Oh, sorry for that interruption, but I'll be damned if I have to record this hour-long segment again. Maybe I should just rush through this and try to just be quick. Anyway, this the total spending return time goes from April 3rd after maintenance to April 25th before maintenance. The exchange activity introduction, so these are to spend your Sky's Silver Feather. Blah 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 blah. So the rewards can be Treasure Essence times 150, Doctrine Water times 100, Avatar Rising Dragon. Again, that I don't know why anyone would buy avatars. They're kind of worthless, and I don't even notice them. Maybe it's a cool thing in the loading screen, but yeah, you barely see them. You barely see them. Well, I say you barely see them. I mean, like if you check out the scoreboard and stuff, yeah, you'll probably see them a lot. And the loading, if you pay attention to the loading screen, you'll probably see them a lot. So you got the Golden Treasure Order times 10, which is probably the most worth it out of all of those things. Maybe the Treasure Essence would be worth it just to buy some of the old stuff really easily. Like you need 300 of those things, so getting 150 of them was like halfway there. Ugh. So the exchange time goes from April 3rd to April 30th, which is interesting. So you got an extra week compared to April 25th. Obviously, with the tier 4 already unlocked, we have the update for the tier 5 bundle for the Zhuangjia Heavy Cavalry. So we have the Zhuangjia Heavy Cavalry pre-order bundle, goes for the unlock 4 orders, which has the original price of 4,000, cut down to 2,800. And again, it makes sense. You gotta do 10 challenges for each of them. A lot of them are easy, so it's just like if you want to spend the time, you can. You can save yourselves way more sovereigns than just whatever there's discounted price on. I think you can do 8 or 9 of them. Normally there are like normally there are like 4 or 3 hard ones that are actually hard to complete. So you'll be hard locked for like the last 1 or 2. So I mean, like if you're really good, you don't need to buy this, and you play a lot. And if you're pretty good, you'll probably only be spending around about 1,000 sovereigns in comparison to 2,800. But if you're lazy, you can just spend the money. Obviously, unlocks all 7 2,900 sovereigns. Goes for the deluxe bundle for all 7. So from April 3rd after maintenance to April 11th before maintenance. So rotation of season challenge pack. Dynasty and Tyranny season challenge packs are now available in the store's Warfare pack. So they're swapping in the Dynasty and Tyranny seasons for the Snowstorm and the Northman season pack. Kind of makes sense. Again, after Tyranny should be the Scottish season. I forget what that was called now. And then followed by the Paragon. Man, I forgot what the Scottish season is called now. Highland. There we go. Highland and Paragon. So it goes from April 3rd to April 18th. Not that a lot of people will care for this, but new players might. Again, new players will probably take a look at these. You get to unlock the whole challenge pack for probably cheap. I think like the most expensive one would probably be the first season, which is the Wrath of Nomads, and that has 6 units. Not that many of them are any good. Zerags are trash. Namcans are trash. Salem Sheds are basically trash now that the Ironcap Scouts mastery. Cautions have always been trash. Even the Ironcap Bow Riders had a better day than the Cautions. There was a time that I think I enjoyed playing the Kev Tools, but again, the changes to the Kev Tools just like they're so squishy. They now have 21 units, but it's just like so squishy. About 7,000 health. Like they just die. They just die so easily. You can barely use their range in order to stay at thing They kind of like you throw them in and hope for the best, but it's just like the hope for the best, it just never works out. A lance cavalry just has a way better charge and would just solve everyone's issue because nothing can stop a heavy cavalry charge, and it's really stupid as well because like opportunity for faster cavalry it just doesn't exist with lance cavalry being just as fast, if not faster on the charge. Keshigs in and out depending on like balance and stuff. I think they're in a weak state right now. They could do with a buff. I mean, it'd be very simple to just kind of like buff them and just make them go. Bleh. You kind of do if you kind of like do the same thing as these new cavalry, could be cool, could be interesting. I do think it would be much better than the heat-seeking type that they're doing, but regardless, Keshiks has been OP several times in the past, so I don't think anyone would want them to kind of return to that state. It's just more cavalry to just watch out for. And obviously, like it's not like it's good against other cavalry, even though it has an entire bottom line which does like 30% extra damage to cavalry. A lance cavalry charge will still wipe the floor with Keshiks. I think even like back in the day, you would throw the Rattan Rangers charge at the Keshiks and they would die because their charge range was actually shorter, or some bullshit. I think they've changed it now, but regardless. So now we have the pool rotation. We got the excavation for Pikeman's Storm Doctrine pool, so you have a higher chance of getting epic polearm infantry doctrines. The only one that really matters is the bloodletting one. 16% of enemy's health in 2 seconds. Again, it's a very OP doctrine. It's just not strong enough. You need to kill the cavalry in naught point whatever. Like you need to kill it within 0 seconds, not after 2 seconds. Really great against super heavy cavalry, monastic knights, camels. Against cavalry that hit you so hard, hit you so fast, and that are easier to kill on a technical level, but dish out several times more damage more easily. You got no chance. Absolutely no chance. And I mean, like, anti-cavalry has been getting so many buffs, and it still barely holds a candle to cavalry. Not to mention, like, you got user error, because pikemen require to be standing still, have the enemy cavalry run into them. You will never catch cavalry if it just simply runs away from you. With infantry, infantry is just straight up not fast enough. Your hero might be able to stop a couple of the cavalry, but your infantry will never catch cavalry. It's really silly. Cavalry, again, is just so powerful. Their utility and strength is just, and for their cost as well, is just astronomically like efficient. So again, I'll complain about it all the time. Balance against cavalry, balance bias for cavalry is there. It is so bad that it is so bad that you have entire battles that when it touches the ground, it's just cavalry. No one brings infantry because anyone that brings infantry gets instantly swamped. And even if you bring a whole mass of infantry, like like cavalry can break that up really easily. Come in from different angles. Come in from like one cavalry coming in from a bat coming in from a flank or a rear would just straight up murder everyone, if not at least half the people. And that's just like, what do we do? We just lost half our army to one cavalry charge. Don't worry, we'll lose the rest of them in the next 10 cavalry charges. I'm not even joking, just like, a single cavalry charge could wipe out an entire army. I've done it. I've done it. I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. Yanya Dow's as well. Just like throw 3 Yanya Dows at the enemy team, and the enemy team is dead. I don't know. I don't know. I want this game to be good, but it's just like there's so many bad things with balance that like the more they chuck on top of it, the more absurd it gets, and it just becomes It just becomes like, meh. I don't care at this point about balance. They don't never listen to me anyway. I want them to change fundamentals, and it's just not worth their time, I guess. They've done some cool things. I like the Kriegs brothers. Really cool that they kind of made the cavalry charge be kind of like, oh, swing and a hit, not like a bulldoze everyone kind of scenario. But Lance cavalries still exist, and they're just too strong. Too strong. Can't get cavalry to work properly. You can't get cavalry to change fundamentally if you keep having units that just are the same. I want I want more than just like a cavalry unit that is balanced. I want cavalry units that exist to be balanced. And I mean wholeheartedly when I say that cavalry charge, it's just frankly unbalanced. There's a lot of other things with infantry and stuff as well. Range units as well, they're getting completely ridiculous in certain scenarios, or certain units are definitely going crazy. Rattan marksmen in particular, just completely crazy. And it's just hard, just hard to keep going in this way. They fail they fail at fixing anything. So instead of fixing anything, they just change it so that this brand new thing is now the problem. Can't make it. You can't. It's a good game, but you can't keep fooling the people. You can't keep fooling players into playing the meta. Playing the meta is just boring, especially for people like me that loves the intricacy of each of the units, how interesting each of the unit can be, and what roles they can play. And again, like matchup as well is a really big part, but like what can I do to minimize the disadvantages? What can I do to gain advantages? All kinds of things that are not directly to my choices of units, but how I use my units. If I just use a unit that is just so goddamn powerful that if I just get one flank, I win. It's disgusting. I don't like it. Onimusha was just like that as well, but like you could brute force from the front a lot of times. The only thing that would stopping you would be like heavy shield units, which would only be the ISGs. Otherwise, you just have massive piles of CC just smashing the Onimushas into oblivion before they get up. If they got up. Like, I lost one time, I um, lost my entire Orochi because there were three goddamn, not three, like, five Onimushas that I failed to kill, and it just murdered just like more than half of my Orochis after a good stab into the face. And it was just like, oh man, it was so brutal, so brutal. So got the Doctrine Pool rotation. We have the time limited permanent kit event, so you get free kits from Saturday and Sunday. Oh wait, um, oh that's really dumb. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday between April 4th and April 14th. So that is um this weekend and next weekend. Great. So this for siege battle, field battles, and expedition. Hopefully for Hulong battle as well. But I'm guessing that they might actually give you units for that one. So that'll be interesting. However, attacking thieves, pursuits, and rebels will still consume kits as normal. So we have some adjustments. So fix the issue where the Wu Wei Mansion guards may have missing attack judgments. Again, there's a lot of this going around, missing attack judgments, where they'll attack the air and just like no hit markers will come out, or like no damage numbers will come out, or they would cancel their own attack. Happens a lot. The Wu Wei Mansion Guards in particular seems to be doing that a lot. They have a couple of attacks that they could choose from, so I'm guessing there's some kind of interference um, where one of the attacks is trying to cancel out the rest of them, and so they kind of stop attacking for a period of time until until that attack judgment is chosen. So, blah, kind of weird. I hope this doesn't refer to the brutal sweep and actually refers to their AoE attack, which is their like overwhelm state that they get. But I don't think anyone uses the basic attack that much. You can literally just stab, sweep, dab, sweep, stab, sweep so fast. It's probably the optimal way to play these guys. You don't even want to leave them in attack mode, even though attack mode is actually really cool. I say really cool. It's just interesting to watch the different attacks come out. So yeah, increase the number of targets. Just generally in every like the first target increase is 100%. Second target increase is 50%, and so on and so forth. So it's just like order of magnitude is just crazy amounts of power. The first one is always the most powerful. They don't do this properly. Again, they don't calculate target numbers and damage numbers. So they always just add targets without readjusting the damage distribution. So they always end up with scenarios where they're just like, oh, we increased the target number from 3 to 4, and all of a sudden this unit just completely bashes the face in of everyone because they're literally increasing the damage by like 33%. And in scenarios where they can get that, they just go crazy. I mean, this is the same thing that happened with the Varangian Guards, but this is the most extreme scenario. They went from 1 to infinity. So it was like, they had infinite damage potential. If they went up against a really, really dense pile of infantry, you were damn sure that a Varangian Guard would chop down 100 people before before their dumbasses died. No one liked fighting that. And again, like Varangian guards were so individually so powerful and difficult to kill that you had to have multiple units kind of try to bash them down. But you would always end up losing way more units than it took to kill the Varangian guards. And that was just back in the day because very few very few of the top tier units in the infantry pile were just straight up raw damage. The best things were literally brace style units like halberdiers or medaus. Surprisingly, medaus. Medaus kind of like half half though. Regardless, it's just another thing that just shows that the developers or whoever's doing the balance has no idea what they're doing and are just throwing changes at the wall, hoping that it fixes everything. They don't have a design philosophy where the units need to adhere to strict rules in order to make sure that they don't go crazy. They just want the units to go crazy and just keep making sure that they go crazy just enough to be better than everyone else, but not so much that it's blatantly obvious that they're OP. But unfortunately, everyone just sees it as they're just going to be blatantly OP every single time. Same reason why I was super upset when they changed the hit limit for the Lancelots. I mean, the Lancelots came out really, really weak when they had the hit limit of 1, and they changed it to go to 2 and 3. Like, rapid advance was going to be a massive problem because they changed it to 3. It would have been fine if it was still 1. Increasing their hits to 2 was okay, but I still think that was kind of really silly for like the Lancelot technique and stuff. But the fact is rapid advance was so powerful in terms of like skills, timing, and burst damage was just, why would anyone use the other buttons when you just spam out rapid advance? And they lowered the cooldown so much that you could spam it out every 7 seconds. I'm just like, I don't want to use the unit like this. I want them to counterattack. I want them to actually fight in Lancelot technique. But now you use Lancelot technique for like 5 seconds before you use your next stab, or you use your stab, run away, stab again. It's just like, whatever. It could have been a really good unit. Really could have been a real fun unit that thrives on chaos and fighting for long periods of time. Kind of like how the Aseps were. the longer the ASAPs fought, the better performance they would do because they were outright stronger in a longer duration fight than a short duration fight. Because if you burst them down, they're dead. But they don't have burst damage. Well, they kind of felt like they had burst damage, but they were because you would scrunch them up and do all that kind of thing. But they would fight. They would fight at a higher level than everyone else, so they were better than everyone else, just enough where they would kill maybe 2 or 3 times the units if the units didn't just straight out burst them down. And even if there was a few of them left, you could. I mean, I remember a time when I had like 12 or 13 of them, and I took on a whole unit of I think it was like men at arms or palace guards, and I beat them. Obviously, like my hero was doing half the work, but ASAPs with down easily beat them up. I mean, my Silidars as well was really fun because like I took I was like half damage and stuff, and I took on an expedition knight. I killed the hero, but the expedition knights are pretty tough to deal with back then because you have to do a whole bunch of things. I don't think I won that one. I think we both. I think I lost my entire unit and I had to run away from the remainder. But yeah, it's those kinds of situation where it's those kind of situations where units really shine, where really their strength comes into play. All this burst, all this damage, it's it's no fun because it doesn't allow the units to express themselves. It doesn't allow the units to really shine where they should. And again, I'm upset that we're all in this burst damage kind of thing. It's not always about burst damage. It's about the fight. Since everything's so important about the burst damage, um, hitting them with your strongest ability and then running away and then looking for another opportunity to hit them again is just it's an optimized play style that just predicates on predicates on people just being bitches. And I say that it's just like no one likes being the tank. Tanks in this game also are nothing more than punching bags. That is what tanks are in this game. They're just punching bags. You can't have tanks like Iron Reapers because Iron Reapers will still wipe the floor with you. They need to get a proper design philosophy for each of the unit, rebuild from the ground up, and finally figure out what they want to do with cavalry. They need to make it so that each and every unit has an interaction point because at this point, cavalry just runs free against everything that doesn't have an anti-cavalry trait, an anti-cavalry factor. Think about it. Ranged units, ranged units, certain ranged units can cancel the charging state. Muskets and like 2 of the crossbows. I haven't checked with the feathered crossbow and whether or not they cancel the charging state, but that is big. Charge is one of the most powerful abilities a cavalry can have. To cancel that is massive. But you don't get to cancel the whole thing. You get to cancel some of it because like the cavalry charge is either really fast or there's so many of them that you don't stop all of them. Just a couple of them will just run you through. Or you have so many ranged units that it just creates a blanket fire that the cavalry just dies anyway. Or it gets stopped, dies, and stops and dies, and just like you got enough distance and whatnot. Optimize the growth nodes for the Iron Cap Scout Cavalry, swapping the position of the charge skill node with the first node. And again, I like that they're adjusting veterancy, but they need to really rework veterancy as a whole because mastery just completely makes veterancy irrelevant. How powerful, like, veterancy is supposed to be directions that the unit can take in order to evolve. Instead, it's not evolving the unit. It is literally just extra stats. Most of the time, it's just extra stats. It doesn't evolve the unit in a way where it makes the unit slightly different from what it was or what the other versions are. Good example of like units that just don't really have a lot of the low tier units just don't really have those differences. And I try out all of these veterancies. There are some cool veterancies, especially skills, especially especially some of the like more important stuff. Damage resistance can be a super game changer. The tankiness of the heavy prefecture cavalry when you go bottom line is incredibly insane. You do less damage, but you're way more difficult to deal with, regardless. Um, Continuing on, we have beginner's adjustment, so decrease the difficulty of enemy units in latent potential when new generals enter the campaign through unit mastery. I always thought this was really stupid that the first latent potential was actually really difficult to complete with just tier twos and tier threes. Um, because there's a lot of tier four units that appears there, and um, you just end up either sometimes failing because the formation with the fortibraccios and the shields just um makes it impossible for the men at arms to kind of just bash their way through. These are like the auto spawn men at arms, and if you do badly, you could run out of units by the time you beat the. You can waste about one unit bashing through the halberdiers in the first one, and then you waste another unit kind of bashing through the um, Wadabrashios, and it's realistically like a mixture of the charging prefecture pikemen and the archers, where anything else, certain units you bring would just get rinsed out before you could even kill them all. And I mean, there's so many ranged units with infinite arrows that unless you're using a shield unit, you will lose a lot of guys, like a lot of guys. So we have bug fixes and optimization. Fix the issue with incorrect icon on some interface pages. Optimize the in-battle UI with some information. Improve the targeting for camel lancers during charge, allowing them to engage better in close combat. I thought this was a problem. I didn't really. I think this is a problem with one of their attack styles. So it's just like they have a lance attack and then they have like a camel contact attack. A camel contact attack is very easy. It just shoves its way, it just pushes its way through and it just hits five people. Anything that's in contact with a camel. But um, the one that's really annoying is the lance attack one. If you're right up against the camel, you'll never get hit with that lance attack, and you can you can basically just like dodge a lot of those attacks, causing them to kind of like be less effective. So if you're just right on top of the camels, you don't receive as much damage. But as the camels move around, they'll just bash you into oblivion, and just you'll just get hit with like a 10,000 damage hit for no reason. Fixed an issue with battle stance skills for Zweihanders. I still think there could be like I'm not sure what this fixes in its in it, but like I know that some people apparently have bugged out the battle stance and got rid of it and just had the obliterate and the zealous strike thingy. Forget what it's called. But there are also just like usability things where battle stance has that healing section and then it goes to the buff section. So yeah, it's not a really smooth transition. Fix the issue where shirt diners would continuously fire bless arrows when a hero was killed. If you get killed by shirt diners, I will laugh because these guys are some of the worst. These guys are worse than the than Arch Militia. They're so bad. They have so low fire rate. They have so low accuracy and so low damage that I think Archer Militia are actually better than these guys. That's how bad shirt diners are. If you die, I mean, I've killed a couple of things. I've killed like 8 things if I when I use them for like 5 minutes with shirt diners. But like seriously, that is if you get killed as a hero by shirt diners and like my goodness, what are you running around naked? Fixed the bug where a supply point outside of Kongshi in Territory War was unusable. Again, Territory War thing. Added a teleportation NPC for housing in the main city region. Yeah, they always have an NPC for teleportation reasons. Just makes it easier for people to go from region to region. Fix issue with the rune description for Water Spirit. Can't remember what Water Spirit is. Fix some issues in the novice missions and novice guidance. Fix the issue of missing models for the Boya Lamela under specific circumstances. I have seen this particular armor bug out. I think this is a unit attire. Optimize the overall broadcast for achievement notifications, which will no longer appear during battle matches. Uh, Again, not particularly sure. Like it would appear in the chat or if someone's got Premium Commander, but I don't think that's really important. Optimize the open world broadcast, which will no longer appear outside of the world matches. I don't see very many people use the open world broadcast, which is like where it's cost special items like 100 sovereigns in order to broadcast a message on everyone's screen at the top. Fix the issue where the game might experience sudden stuttering during gameplay. Alright, haven't experienced that, haven't been playing. So, really quickly, we have the server matchmaking adjustment. This is for the new servers and stuff, and I've noticed that I wasn't in full screen, but it doesn't really matter. So, dear Warlords, the following maintenance update on April 3rd, we will be adjusting the matchmaking mechanics for Excalibur, Khan of Heaven, and other novice servers. In the update scheduled for April 3rd, cross-server matchmaking will be adjusted based on the rules below. Siege Battles, the Growth, and Novice server, including the KH server, will share the same matchmaking pool. PvE battles, blah blah blah, same thing. In Free Battle, Deathmatch, Hulan Gate, the other match and other matchmaking modes in the event thing. The Growth and Novice server, including the KH server, will share the same matchmaking pool. So that's interesting. So Free Battle, Deathmatch, Free Battle and Deathmatch having what separate matchmakings for the novice and growth servers is good. Deathmatch really dependent on armor and weapon. Free battle again, available units. When you only have one season worth of units, you'll have like 3 tier 5s and just probably using some of the other meta units. So and even in sometimes I've in free battles recently, I've seen some Iron Cap scouts come out and it's just like, why are these guys out? And I realized that they're bloody OP. They can easily contend with tier 5 infantry. So again, it's a really strong cavalry, really for real cheap as well. But free battle is like no cost, but people still bring it because of how goddamn OP Iron Cap scouts are. They're like they're like what heavy prefecture cavalry is, but on steroids. And better on steroids because like they have higher hit limit and probably better targeting. The Hulan Gate one is interesting because it just means that like the Hulan Gate, they're probably not experienced with the units, so I guess that's why they didn't do that. Or you actually have to select your own units, which will be interesting. But again, we'll have to wait and see kind of the intricacies of Hulan Gate and see what kinds of things are in there. Although they do say in the next part, in Treasure Trove, Flag Frenzy, Coliseum, Hammer Roll, and other matchmaking modes, the official server, excluding Expada Forest, Novice server, and Growth servers will share the same matchmaking pool. So that is a counterpoint. So Hulan Gate probably uses your own units, and these things are equalized modes because we know that Champion Trove and Flag Frenzy both uses units, both hand you units to select from. Coliseum, most of the Coliseum modes, again, hand you units, but like you don't get to select them. Well, you do out of like a couple of units, maybe sometimes. Hammer Brawl probably is equalized because everyone becomes a mole hero. Other matchmaking modes of probably this similar type will probably have all open server. So it really depends on skill on this one. There are some people on the new servers that are probably not as skilled. Anyway, we got the novice server in the novice. So more matchmaking rules and design philosophy. The novice server in the novice server. The ranking battles will not be available. Rewards for certain game modes will be calculated based on ranking within the individual server. So that's again strange. So some kind of ranking will be done. Game modes will apparently contribute to this ranking, and you'll get the rewards, I think. So novice servers don't miss out. Hopefully, don't miss out on like the ranking rewards. Again, getting to Captain General or something. Get that ranked attire, basically a free attire. Sometimes the attire is fire, sometimes the attire is trash. I do think any of the Fortebraccio one, the Pavis one, and the Falconetti one's all terrific. Iron Reaper one's trash. The Imperial Pike Guard is trash. The Men at Arms one is pretty good. It's not fire. It's just good. The Wayne Star one is trashed. I'm trying to think of a good one. Yeah, your down one's trash. I don't actually mind the Onimusha one. The Onimusha one is quite nice actually. Um, but yeah, there are some good there are some good attires in there. Obviously, like there is a cool tiger attire for the serfs, but with this one, like this one probably looks better and is cleaner. But again, if you like that thing, I know some people run around with serfs with that attire, but why would you use those serfs when you can just use the hammer serfs? Again, just silly. Growth server. For growth server, rewards for matchmaking and other similar game modes will only be related to the growth server. So there will be ranking matches for the growth server, but the growth server has its own thing going. That'll be interesting seeing a very, 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 very excluded or very, 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 very like small ranking kind of things. I actually really do love watching some like low level battles because units in the lower tier are much more fun to watch than units in the higher tier, which would just completely wipe units out, completely wipe units off the face of the earth. But the unfortunate thing is that there are certain units in the lower tiers that are just completely bonkers. I mean, Outriders for the longest time, but now we have Iron Cap Swordsmen, we have Iron Cap Scouts, we have Courtiers, we have a whole bunch of other things, mostly cavalry just going out of control, but like some of the infantry units are also very, very, very strong. Rattan Marksmen in particular. Anyway, regardless of novice or a growth server, when choosing opponents, the highest priority when selecting opponent is to ensure that the players are matched with opponents of similar skills and similar levels and skill as much as possible. Like similar levels kind of doesn't make sense unless you're talking about in the context of available units. Like I don't like having to use tier 5s every single time, and trying to use tier 4s to compete with tier 5s is a stupid endeavor because tier 5s will wipe the floor with you. But skill, that always makes sense. Skilled matchmaking is just very important. But the point is that you can't gauge similar levels when there's so many factors that could lead into someone just being better by default. Armor by default couldn't put you an arm and a leg ahead of the other person. You could have 3 arms and 3 legs, and you would just beat up everyone around you. I've been in some of those battles where someone queued up with a low level player, and I get shoved into a match where there's a bunch of low level players, and I'm literally invincible because my armor is a leg up above everyone else, my weapon is a leg up above everyone else. So I'm smashing these people with 2 to 3 hits, and they take 20, maybe 50 hits to kill me. Is it fun? Yes, because I'm overpowered. In the long run, it's not, though. Everyone facing me realize that they can't do shit against me, and they just lose the battle from the get-go. my units are also an arm and a leg stronger than everyone else's unit because when I shove those tier 5 when I shove those epic tier 5 doctrines onto my unit, I feel OP. I feel arm and a leg better. When I'm running around with my full ass Yanyu Daos with that toughness doctrine, with the toughness doctrine, with that damage reduction doctrine, like I feel like my Yanyu Daos are unkillable, and I'm just dealing so much damage out for everyone else that it's just like, wow, I just wiped out another infantry unit. Wow, I just wiped out another infantry unit. Same thing as when I was running around with like Dagger Egg Lancers or Winged Hussars. Like, wow, one good charge and I just killed hundreds of people. Wow, my Dagger Egg Lancers actually survived that, killing like 80 odd people, and like I only lost two Dagger Egg Lancers. I could charge in again and do wrap around them. Like Dagger Egg Lancers also has a small ass cooldown where I could United charge, then United charge again, and like it's so awful to fight against something like that. Not to mention like 60% damage reduction. Man, you need to pin my unit down. You need to pin my unit down and just keep smacking it, but that counter attack will kill you before you can do that. This set of rules will gradually refined and optimize. Our ultimate goal is to establish a stable matchmaking ecosystem that provides both official and growth server players with a satisfactory matchmaking experience. And I do hope people are satisfied with matchmaking. Again, people don't want to play with bots. People want to play with other people. But again, people also like normality. The normality of this game is just too fast right now, especially at the higher levels. You need to have each of the tiers have meanings because at this point, unless you're at the highest level, you're not even on the board. You're not even playing the real game. That's what people are like. Unless you got the best, you're not even playing the real game because people are such meta slaves that they need the best. They always have to use the best. And I mean, like, the statistic they gave out before was like 97% of people use the same warband game after game, changing very rarely, or when patch notes comes out. But yeah, that is all for this week's announcements. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But other than that, my name's Ezekai, and have a nice day. Bye for now.